Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Drink While You Think. We are your hosts. I'm Kenji, and he is
I'm Matthew.
Matthew. Do you know how long it's been since we've filmed an episode?
I know that we haven't been up to much.
Well, I'll tell you that. Yeah, so you're.
I'm going to go 8 weeks. I'm going to go. Our marketing person has been on sabbatical for 10 weeks. So I'm going to guess 9 weeks. I'm going to guess we got one out without her. And then we missed 9 weeks at least in a row.
That sounds more accurate. Well, in a different way of answering than I looked it up. So when I looked at it, we had last dropped one in the YouTube channel at the end of June. I was like, so we missed the month of July, but I was surprised. I thought we missed more. So I think it's an old episode because I think there's a bunch of stuff. Like I looked at it real quickly. I'm like, that's an old episode. So yeah, I think you're right. I think we're about like, it's called 8 weeks behind.
So in our defense, Mary Margaret was out.
She was out.
Understand the importance of people. Like everybody out there recognizes that team members beyond us contribute to things and is in all of your guys' teams out there. So we'll acknowledge that.
Not just the two of us drinking all the time, but that does happen. And then we've been a little busy, haven't we?
We've been a little busy.
But before we get into that, because who knows? All right, we're gonna need some drinking here during this episode.
Okay.
What do you got?
Like this.
What do you got?
Like this? I actually found a PBR that does a hard coffee for me.
Oh my God. You got the hard coffee PBR?
So I got the hard coffee PBR, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a stout I can handle. And I almost went with because somebody's been trying to get me to try the Guinness Extra Smooth. I was right next to it. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try the PBR because that looks like.
I'm impressed with you. I'm proud of you for going out there. And I just think I can't wait to get some flavor notes and some ratings from you on this. This will be interesting. I've seen it at the store. I've never had it. I've been curious. So what's your initial take on it?
Well, I mean, I've been drinking these this week. I like these a lot. Have you ever had the mocha coffee from Starbucks in the bottle?
Yeah.
It tastes like that. You can't even taste the alcohol. And it's just
what percentage is it?
It's not bad. It's like a 5%. So it's not a crazy heavy one. Thank God, because man, it would be bad. It would be bad because they go down smooth. They go down like the mocha frappuccinos in the bottle. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't wait. This is going to be I can't wait till the rating. This could be interesting. I've gone the opposite direction. I was actually running out of beer. I haven't bought in a while. And I thought, look at this. I thought I was sure this was a wine bottle. It's like a wine bottle, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't see the label.
I can't see. It's super hard to read. You can
there you go. Mellifluous,
Belgian Tripel. This is from Contrast Artisan Ales, which I realize that means my wonderful wife. She was with some friends over there having drinks, and she's really sweet. She likes to, if she's at a brewery and I'm not there, she'll bring some home. So this is where it came from. But I think it's been sitting in my fridge for a while because I thought it was wine, and I just passed right by it. So we're gonna figure out how this bad boy is. But yeah, we've got some. We've got a little catching up to do. I was trying to figure out how we even approach this whole damn thing. I think.
So just for everybody's, I think just a recap of what all, I don't know. There's no way you can tell what all happened.
Here's a quick cheers though. Oh my
cheers.
Gosh. Cheers, dude.
So our kids are all accepted to college now. Both of us have kids that got accepted to college. We did both high school graduations, probably. We've been to accounting salon. You went to accounting salon. We both went to AICPA Engage. We did a merger. We threw that in there. Like, man, what else?
We teased it, but I don't think we posted it. You went
the St. Lucia. We went to our St. Lucia office. So is that one in the can somewhere? Does that not the last one?
I think so. It might be. We may have to consider it like a lost episode that may get revived somewhere. It's somewhere in the can, but we filmed that one of you in St. Lucia. I didn't see that on the channel either. So We've
So
got
yeah,
like
you
a
better
ton of
go
stuff.
look through the. I hope you didn't lose that one. So, but
Yeah. Let's back it up then. Let's go back real quick. We're not going to get through all of this, but like, okay, so there is a good one in St. Lucia. You want to tell people what in the world we're doing in St. Lucia?
no, we'll go find the episode. If we
Okay.
don't find the episode, we'll go do that because the
Okay.
other stuff is stuff there. Hopefully that one will drop before this one, and you guys will be like, well, you guys are just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. It'll be more fun to kind of see that one firsthand because Matthew's kind of reporting on the scene on that one. But yeah, more expansion for Team Acuity, which we're excited about. But yeah, I've looked at it. I think I've been home only like a week in the past 8 weeks or something like that, maybe 10 days in the past 8 weeks. It's been crazy. Starting with, I guess back in end of June, beginning of July, you and I are in Colorado together. And
oh yeah, we went to Colorado for the merger.
yeah, to work on this merger, which next week's episode we are filming, we are bringing on, and I guess we can go ahead and let people know because people already know. It's out there in the world. The wonderful, amazing Patty and Scott Sharp will be on. We'll talk more about that merger, but we were out working on it. We just figured you were the one who was like, we got to go spend some time with them if we're going to do this deal. And I was going out to Colorado to be with my family anyway a few days later. And you're like, let's just go. And so we just
got on a plane, went for 2 days, hammered out a deal. And then we got it closed we got it closed fast. We got it closed in less than 30 days from when we left Denver with a term sheet to when it closed Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday of last week. That was last week, dude. Because so we merged with a firm called Catching Clouds. For those of you that aren't familiar with all to do with Acuity and don't watch our press releases, but they're the top e-commerce accounting firm in the United States, and so we're really excited to have a bunch of talent joining us, not just Patty and Scott, but the whole team. And
yeah.
You just really exciting. So
very exciting. We'll talk. It'll be fun next week when we're all on to have some drinks with them and just talked about the deal more. Like, right. I think we've been pretty transparent about how it worked and how it kind of came together. It'll be more fun hearing it, I think, amongst all of us, but it'll be a raucous 4-person kind of event. So that'll be good. But that was record pacing on, I think, getting that deal through and dragging these poor attorneys who have tried to be helping us, but we're dragging them through this, like, hurry up, because we knew what we wanted to do. They were just having to kind of slow us down a little bit. So, but that was exciting. We'll talk about that next. Right after that, we were back working here in Atlanta, and then I went off to accounting salon, which was, I guess I'll just give a couple highlights there. I still think what Amanda and David Leary are doing there is great for the industry. It's just a super cool kind of curated events. There's so much discussion there, and I hope, we keep it curated and small so that we kind of have a safe, trusted space that all of us as firm owners can really, really talk about things going on in our firms. But what I really like and appreciate about it, and I guess I want people to know, is that Amanda spends a lot of time thinking about, well, how do we, without making this another QuickBooks Connect or Accountex or AICPA Engage, how do we take the things we're doing there and make an impact in the profession? And so that's been interesting. We're still trying to figure some of that out. Last year was cool with the virtual events, where we just took all of it, like, boom, just kind of put it all out there, like 10 hours straight of programming and discussion and things like that. And I think there's some opportunities there, but that's just such a great event. It's a hard one because you're trying to keep a certain intimacy to it, but you want to be inclusive, right? So it's a funky thing. I know you've got some feelings about it.
Hey, I understand. They don't value my opinion. It's fine.
It's not true. Well, maybe I don't. They do. They don't. But some great stuff there in New Orleans. That's a fun town for events, right? It's just such a great town for events, which.
Oh, yeah. Everybody better put May 2022 on their thing, because ZeroCon's in New Orleans. So that came out at the same time. So
yeah, Ben Richmond, who leads kind of America's was with us at Accounting Salon, and then just shortly thereafter announced that that's where XeroCon will be next year. So that is going to be, you got to circle up the calendar on that one. That's going to be an amazing time, I think, in New Orleans. And I think Jazz Fest will be back right around that time too. So you just double it up and go there, see some great live music, and then, Jazz Fest, and then go right to XeroCon.
May's going to be crazy because Accounting Salon's already in May. XeroCon's in May. And then I heard, I just got an email. I went back and forth because Seth Feinberg's group, Accounting Web, is doing a great conference in San Diego in May.
I heard that too. I heard that on with David and Blake mentioned that on the Cloud Accounting podcast.
I reached out to Seth and he was like, yep, we're doing it. It's going to be for smaller firms, like kind of like what we're trying to talk about with Accounting Salon, not focused about the big guys. Like our readers want it. Like, this is what we're doing, man. What a great group to put that on. Like, that's going to fill a gap in the, like we always talk about these conferences that are, that aren't biased, like tilted. Because I mean, we go to QuickBooks Connect and XeroCon and Suite World, and like those all have their slants, right? they have an agenda, and Accounting Web's not biased like that. So that's a huge add to the ecosystem. They're filling a gap because some of the other ones have fallen off, I know. So
well, and then Engage, which we'll talk about our experience there, because we have to do that one together. That really is a little bit more kind of built toward a little bit larger firms, right? That's their big annual event, and they kind of pull all these other conferences have been kind of merged together, and it's got a hefty price tag. That's not feasible for a lot of smaller firms who are getting going. It's just not feasible. The sessions are not geared towards smaller firms. And so that'll be a good niche to kind of fill, I think. So yeah, May is going to be crazy busy. So let's hope the tax deadlines kind of normalize and folks can,
some of our tax friends can get out. That'll be great.
Finish in April and get out and really enjoy maybe a combination San Diego and New Orleans. But it was a great event, great time down there. Lots of great vendors and folks who sponsored. But that was great. But then right back, turned around, came home for one night. I did, and went right back and turned around and went to Vegas. Dude, New Orleans, Vegas, back to back. I mean, I was super excited. You know me, I love to get out and have fun and kind of party and stuff. And I was like, that's an aggressive 2 weeks.
that was pretty aggressive. And you took your family to Vegas.
That actually helped.
Don't know, like he took his family to Vegas for the first 3 or 4 days, and then I joined him partway through, and we had this beautiful room.
Yeah,
there's all kinds of good stories there.
It helped. Having the family out there helped tremendously. I think, as I said, it really, most people do not ease their way into Vegas, right? You hit the ground. You had all that oxygen pumping, the lights, the noise, slot machines going off. I mean, you just get so overstimulated. But going with your family, we couldn't find another time for a family trip. We're like, let's try this. And so actually, our kids are teenagers and older, and so it worked out great. We had a great time, but we kind of eased my way in, and then you showed up, and then things kicked off for Engage, which I don't know. This is our first Engage. What were your thoughts?
What were my thoughts? I always like the trade shows. So like just seeing the vendors and our friends that are down there that know the vendors is great. Engage is awfully focused on larger firms, financial services, like heavy people that
Wealth
do
management,
wealth management. I think that's a product of it being a smash up of 8 conferences in one, right? So I mean, I think, I was listening to the Cloud Accounting podcast, and Blake summed it up the best. It was like the first thing he went to is like, it's time to do cloud accounting, like was the first slide. And you're just like, oh man, like if you're a progressive firm, like some of these sessions aren't really tailored for you, right? It's not like most of these conferences that tailor to the firm owner demographic, which is the over 60 demographic. If you look at like 75% of the firms in the United States, like they're focused on step 1, getting to the cloud. And some of us are on step 2 and 3, and, hopefully step 4. in that progression. And I think you've got to go to these other, conferences. I would say that about QuickBooks and Zero too. Sometimes like they get stuck on step one a lot. But it was like step point one, engage, if that's true there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It just was, I did not really attend any sessions. I did like you did the trade show and wanted to be, for me, it's always wanting to be in conversations, right? I think it doesn't mean that there are people who are not giving good value out there. We're really fortunate. And I mean, really fortunate to know. I think the top speakers there are people that we have relationships with that are friends of ours, that we do things like this, or just catch up in the evening, or pick up the phone and call and talk to. And so for me, I'm very skewed to it. I want to be in a place where I have conversations, and we can ask questions and dig in. And it's not the fault of Engage, but it's just and even ZeroCon and QB Connect aren't really geared toward conversations. Some of them have been doing some more interesting things around like speed dating and stuff like that I think are really kind of unique, good ideas, to where that's what people always take away as value.
And we both spoken at both of those, and it's hard. It's hard to put a second step thing in because you don't know where everybody is, and you're trying to meet them where they are. And so, I mean, I get it's a challenge to get to the second step, third step kind of topics, but man, I think that's the thing about, I think, the format of Accounting Salon. I think that's the difference, right? It's like you're able to. You have known your audience, like, because you know who's in the audience.
Exactly.
You can take it to the second step and the third step and know that they're going to have context because last year you did the first step. You know what I mean?
You can really that's a great point. Yeah.
There's a huge disadvantages to the bigger conferences in that respect. So I don't want to marginalize the content there because, those are, especially the speakers, are really quality people,
fantastic people. Yeah. It's one that I would attend again. I'd probably to be a candidate. I'd probably do it much like I did this time. We did this time. We had we went into it. We've done a lot of conferences, and you and I love going to these again just to see them. And we did have fun. We had a great room that we kind of, you and I specifically kind of curated, like, oh, we're going to make a space to where anybody who's at the conference who wants to come by and hang out and like catch up can. And a few times we had some good conversations. Other times it ended up being huge parties.
Yeah.
But
Kenji gives me credit for that, but that was all him. So like we had this corner unit that had a wraparound balcony overlooking kind of I think it's the south side of the strip. It was pointed. We could see the airport and then a bunch of the stuff there, but we're on like the 65th floor or something like that, 68th or somewhere out there. So it was really beautiful, and people could come up and hang out and just chill out and kind of be with people who think similarly to them. But and the nice thing was that was right before the lockdown, or this new lockdown. So I think that would have a total different vibe if it had happened, like if it had happened the next week even,
Yeah, I think so too. I was there one more night than you were. And in fact, the lockdown, at least the mask mandate indoors, got enacted right after you left, just before I left. So I was actually in with Scott Scarano in the MGM Grand at the stroke of midnight. He and I were kind of walking through there when the mandate went into effect. So it was fascinating watching that get rolled out at scale inside of a big, a casino. I mean, they're probably way more well equipped than most people to do that. Like, all right, all employees were ready, we're prepped, signage went up immediately. Boom, 1201, masks going out everywhere. They were trying their best to be nice to people. It was kind of interesting seeing that, but it
only Vegas.
Only in Vegas. So we may have we'll see. We may have a reputation to live up to. We'll do our best to meet that in future conferences if we see there's opportunity to do so.
Well, we'll try to raise our game at New Orleans and ZeroCon. So
yeah, but I guess one of the things I always like to make sure that on these, when it's just you and I, and it's like no cool people who are all cooler than you and me, that like we're at least talking about things that we're working on at Acuity. And next week we mentioned we'll talk about dig into the merger with Patty and Scott. Like we're trying to figure out, we talk about events. We've got AcuityCon. That's our event that we fly people into. And that's in September. And we're doing our best to figure out how do we do that thing. And I only just shared this from, I think there are other firms and firm owners. I just talked to one last night. I talked to, Stephen Brown last night. We kind of had some conversations about bringing people together and how do you do that, and how important it is, but how do you do that right now? And so we're kind of wrestling with that. We're going to do a little bit of a hybrid model of that, but then you get into all these questions of things that you and I didn't quite think a cloud remote-based firm was going to have to get into. Like, well, we don't have people who go out and meet with clients. We don't have an office that people really come into regularly. So you're like, well, you let people kind of do what they want to do in terms of, vaccinations and all those things, right? I think we've always been a place that we're like, oh, you let people work how they want to work and things. And we go, wait a minute, but we're also bringing everybody together. We're hoping to in September. And so it's been interesting talking to other firm owners about that. And you and I spent a lot of time on that yesterday, a lot more time yesterday than I thought we would spend on it. We had to break out things like, you got out there and like, all right, we're whiteboarding this thing. We're getting core values out. We're going to talk about like how our decisions going to align with our core values. It was an interesting discussion, and one that I'm sure we're not done with, that we're going to have a lot more discussions. And a lot of people are reaching out to us, whether they're tech partners or team members, like, hey, you guys still have an AcuityCon in September? And right now, as of this date, we're saying, yes, we are. We're going to do it. We're going to give some people choice about how they do it, in person or virtual. And if you're there in person, we're going to be really safe as we can be. And I don't know. I'm kind of actually, when you and I yesterday started thinking about like, how are we going to do this? Because at one point, I'll admit, I was thinking, man, maybe this is we're just trying to push the boulder up the hill and make, and the last thing we want to do is ever put any team member in harm's way. And I was kind of feel like I was thinking that way. And then all of a sudden, I think we started thinking more creatively a little bit, like, well, how would could you do it outdoors, right? That was the thing that hit us. Like, could you do it outdoors? And then, I don't know, I started getting excited once we started walking around like outdoors and things and looking at things. I was like, oh, this could be super cool, right? This could be a way to like, we can't really mitigate some of the travel related issues that we're going to let people figure out how they can handle that. But like, maybe you don't do it inside of a conference room. Maybe you do it in these super cool open air spaces. Like, has there ever been like a vendor trade show booth area that's been outdoors, right? That's maybe not a booth. It's maybe in a fun, like more interactive way, but still safer. So I that part was kind of cool to me, but I don't know how you felt about that yesterday. That was an interesting, again, I like people to kind of peer into what we're doing at Acuity, because I think it helps people think about, at least in their own firms, what they're doing.
Yeah, I think if people saw how we think, they would be like, how do they ever get anything done over there? But yeah, I mean, it's a good thought exercise. I mean, we were looking at alternative venues, and then you start moving venues 45 days before. You better, like, you're talking about, you just change the cost metrics on everything. And if you don't have the venue right next to the hotels, what do you do? And, just from not just a cost perspective, or for an ease of, going back and forth for people, like just when they want to take a break and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's just like so many things to think about. But I have been pipe dreaming about some other venues, by the way.
I know you have been. I know you have been.
So I had a call today with one of them, and so we're looking up for places. So, because I mean, for everybody else out there, like one of the big things that we want to try to accomplish is allow people, like, have a venue or a space in which people who don't want to wear masks can safely not wear masks, versus putting them in a confined room, and then if like putting people at risk, or it was something that the CDC would say, yeah, don't do that. Right. Which is kind of my bar. It's like, we're in Atlanta, everybody down the street, we know people that work at the CDC. They seem to be
CDC is
sane
right down
people.
there. I got neighbors who work there. Yeah, we all do here in Atlanta. It's a big organization.
We try to listen to their advice. So how do we do that? Like, it's good though too, because it's also, anytime you start doing that, you start challenging content. Anytime you challenge content, you're like, okay, you start thinking about engagement. When you start thinking about engagement, you're thinking about the right thing, right? So
That's to me the most exciting part about it is, and not discounting at all the safety of it. Like at some point we may have to, let's say things got a lot worse and we did not feel comfortable that we could do this in a manner that was safe for all people attending. And the answer is pretty clear. You said, well, you can't do it. You cannot put people in harm's way, not anybody. But it's always that, and I've heard this a million different times about how when you're given constraints, your ability to creatively think actually improves. Like you don't want every option open to you. In fact, you kind of just get a little bit, but like all of a sudden you constrain the issue a bit. You're like, okay, wait a minute, how do we do this? And for me, it got me excited of thinking, yes, it probably means I'm going to be on weather.com nonstop for like 3 weeks before the event, doing my rain dance or whatever I need to do to make sure everything's clear. But I'm like, if the weather works out, like this could be the coolest event ever. It could also be a total mess. But like the fact that actually the constraints of making this really, really safe actually might make it a fantastic event if the weather cooperates. Like it could just be like, oh my gosh, I want our tech partners, right, who all come, like in certain ways when you and I were looking at the space yesterday of how we would maybe reconfigure it for outdoors, I was like, if this worked out and this is the way how we did the vendor booths, this will be the new benchmark for every single vendor. Like, look how we did our vendor booth this time at AcuityCon, because the setting is just beautiful and gorgeous and is really unique and interesting. And so I don't know, there's a part of me that gets excited about that when I think those constraints come in place. And it was helpful that as firm owners, we were kind of down in the dumps earlier in the week and like, what do we do? And then we may go back and probably will go back in a few of those cycles too. But then by the end of the day, after thinking about it, I'm like, oh, this could be super cool. This could be really interesting. Like, right.
Yep.
So we'll see how that all works out. I hope others, again, we've seen that where more traditional firms have had to think creatively just through COVID of getting remote and things like that. But
I totally just had another idea, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I think I figured out one of our problems. Okay. That's so awesome. Okay.
Geez.
Okay.
Not okay. Okay. That's typical. We're not going to share it here. Well, the content will just be, you don't want to give it away.
Because then you poo-poo it, everybody's going to know that you're the bad guy and I'm the good guy, and we can't bust your reputation.
You've always wanted that to be the.
No, I'm okay being the bad cop. I'm fine. It's just odd. I was always the good cop everywhere else, and then I come to Acuity, all of a sudden
the bad cop.
There's bad cop.
Yeah, right. We don't really have any bad cops at Acuity, which may be one of our challenges.
Probably.
We're too busy trying to have as much fun as we can in the profession. Someone asked me that once, and I'm like, I'm just trying to have more fun than anybody else does in the profession. What's wrong with that? Like it's a core value.
That's a good. Happy is a core value, man. That's how we roll.
So yeah, we've got that coming up, and we've had so many things. I think next week when we talk through with Patty and Scott, it's going to be an awesome time to dig in a little bit more on what we're doing. What we think is a smart approach to M&A, which will be kind of fun to talk through and get Patty and Scott's perspective. We got a bunch more coming up, things, AcuityCon, et cetera. What else? Anything else? Other new big news you want to highlight?
Selfishly, like it's kind of cool. We hit a milestone. We're an 8-figure accounting firm.
That's true. You always like talking numbers. Yeah, that's true. That is true. It is really, because of how significant Patty and Scott's, and the rest of the Catching Clouds team, what they've built, they added to it. Now it's an 8-figure firm.
We're an 8-figure revenue firm. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I think, if we rewind to when we started,
it is crazy.
Some people put that on the 10-year plan. We're not even good enough to have a 10-year plan. But if we did, we would have had that when we started probably. And so
Yeah, we probably would
8 years,
have.
we got to go redo the 10-year plan. We're going to follow. Lazanis has got me a book I'm working through. It has a
Does
10-year
he?
plan in it. Yeah. I'm still struggling with the BHAG, but that's all right. So we're working on that.
It's hard.
You're getting closer on the BHAG
I'm
than
getting
I've ever
closer.
gotten. Yeah. You've had some great ideas lately on the BHAG. So
I think coming out a little bit out of the fog of COVID. Yeah. It's been fun to, I mean, you know me better than anybody besides my wife. And like, I need to be in a very kinetic space where things are happening and people are there and I need to be in conversations, and that just gets me going. So it was tough for me, certainly during COVID, of like, you were it, like outside of my family. I was like, I was seeing you, and that was kind of it. And we were like fighting our way through it. So we've had some good ideas as you and I have spent more time together and out there in the world, I think, thinking through things. And, it's, my hope is that as we go through these, I was, again, talking to some others about this, like, I think other firms are absolutely going to get there and get there faster than us. Probably get there in a smarter way than we are. I would just ask that they come back and share how they did it and help us out. But like, we're always happy to, like, as we hit these milestones and share like what we're going through, which is what we're going to do next week with Patty and Scott, because I think that's what we all benefit from. I don't think we benefit from being small, individually segmented, fractionalized, like just so disparate. Like we all need to talk about like what's working, what's not working. And, that's a conversation for another day. But the one that you and I always worry about is that you get to a point and like the growth side is not something that's concerning anymore. It was for many, many, many years when we started, but like it's now complexity. Like it's just complexity, and how do we minimize complexity? And I use probably every day, I was going to say every week, like you're the one who's always been like, how do we make Acuity easier to use for people, right? And I think it's the same big thing we're trying to say in the profession. Like, how do you we're hearing about people leaving the profession who are just like, I'm tired of it, it's too whatever. And that's a real shame, because this is a good profession. It's a very good, noble profession, as I always say, but there've been some things historically that have not made it great. And I think us as firm owners can do some things to make it a place where like, oh, this is a great place to have a career. I'm not getting crushed. It's not overly complicated, but how do you do that and not grow and not also make it easy to use at the same time? So it's an interesting challenge, but it's a tough one.
Yep.
So anyway,
never boring.
I'm glad we're just back on the vibe again. We're kind of moving again here. Sorry that we missed some great opportunities. We could have done it. We meant to do something on that cool balcony in Vegas.
But we don't even post the cool ones from St. Lucia, so it's all right.
I know, we take them, we're going to post them. Again, there's somewhere out there as a lost episodes. I'm going to flip over and do mine first here. We're going to share. Let's do our ratings as always. Let's do a little screen share. And again, don't forget about good old Untapped over here. We don't have enough followers. That's okay. And the only reason we want followers is like, we want to know what you're drinking, see what we're drinking, tell us whether we're crazy. I'm drinking this Mellifluous
9%er.
Dude, it tastes every bit of 9%. It's the opposite of yours. This tastes like it's 15%. It is. I mean, that's about the slowest I've consumed a beer on Drink What You Think in a while, right?
Yep.
It's good, but it is. I'm not sure this is the way you ease into the weekend. I like it. It's a little heavy. I'm going to go 3.25 for me.
Okay. And I got the PBR hard coffee.
And let me just pull this up. I cannot wait for this one. I cannot freaking wait. There it is. PBR.
There it is.
Okay. Oh,
okay.
3.9. Okay. Tell me about it. Like, what is this like? Yeah.
Just for the record, like just on straight flavor, like this is my happy place. So this is like a full, like if it was just on flavor, but you're gonna laugh at this. So I'm dinging them a full half point to 4.5 because they chinched us and went 11 ounces instead of 12 ounces.
Oh, like, PBR. Oh, dude, PBR. Why did
is that an accountant thing to do? I mean, like that just bugs me. Like they put it in the skinny can. but they gypped me an ounce. And that's I like normally this should be like a more than a 5% or two. So like on the numbers, like it just didn't get there. It's just not the perfect beer. But on the flavor, man, if you like those mocha frappuccinos from Starbucks, this is your beer, man.
If you, I mean, but then again, we're opposite here. Mine's 750 milliliters. It's like a wine bottle, and it's 9%. It tastes like 15%. Like I'm getting every bit of it, but I don't know if I'm gonna get through it.
You'll have to save some for later.
Save some for later. Well, drink PBR, hard coffee is the moral of the story. Go out and safely connect with other fellow accountants is the story. And
merge with firms. Oh, that's the story. But well, watch next week before you do that, because there's some good, there's some good and bad. So
there's some good and bad there. Great seeing everybody back here again. Great being doing this. We'll try to get back on our rhythm now that we're not traveling all over the stinking planet. But cheers, everyone.
We'll see you.